Hey, I'm Jeff the Junk Seller, and this presentation is going to be about the flea market Larry's Old Time Trade Days in Winnie, Texas. I arrived here on November the 4th. I haven't been out to this market in probably 2 years. Um, the people that owned it have passed away, and their children and daughter-in-law or son-in-law are running it now. Prices went up a bit. I had to pay $75 for my space. I showed up on the 4th a couple of days early, and I had to pay $10 a day extra because of that. But the show ran the 6th, 7th, and 8th. Today is Tuesday the 11th. We had horrible wind on Monday, and it snapped cold yesterday, and it's down into the 30s overnight. And we had terrible wind yesterday too. But I sold it. Sales were horrible here. I really don't like the people here. They're so mechanical in the way that they try to beat you on price that it's really frustrating. And I don't think I'll be back here for a while. I will come back because I'll say this. Being set up here gave me a base of operations to attend a couple of sales, and a guy that I know that was set up across from me, he bought the remains of a sale of a estate sale over in Katy, Texas, and he called me up yesterday morning and asked if I wanted to come out there and buy some stuff. And I went out there and spent $100. I got quite a bit of stuff. I got maybe 200 comic books. I got a whole bunch of the little trolls. I got a vintage range, little girl's doll range, pressed tin, painted tin. I think I got a piece of Blanco glass. I got some great Christmas ornaments. I got two Christopher Radko ornaments and some little metal cat ornaments. The star of everything that I got out of there, though, was a butter dish. It was Pyrex Amish print turquoise butter dish, and it's something of a trophy. I should probably sell it for $75. Online, they're found for as much as $125. And I got a couple of boxes of books. There are some pretty good books in there. A lot of them were just Franklin Library books, but if I get those in a booth somewhere, I'll get $10 a piece out of them. But I found an estate sale myself, and I went over to Liberty, and I got a tobacco tin that probably a $25 tin. I paid $10 for it. The graphics on it were fantastic. The paint was good. But I got a couple of postcards while I was there for $1 each, and one of those postcards will probably sell for $45 to $50 range. It was a flood in Mart, Texas, in front of the First National Bank of Mart, Texas, and that's a tiny little town, only about 200 people, but it's a good card. And another was the Israel in the Wilderness, or Tabernacle in the Wilderness, something like that. And it was a Austin church. It was a Baptist church out of Austin, 1937 or so. And because it's a Texas card, I'll probably get $15 out of it. But I got a couple of the passes for the House of Representatives that were rubber stamp signed by Lloyd Benson, who was a senator or congressman out of Texas. He served as Department of Treasury or something. I remember he's got his signatures on a lot of paper money. But my neighbors here, I bought pretty well from one guy that was to the left of me. I got a handful of cufflinks. I bought some good mid-century modern glassware. I paid $10 for a set of 6 glasses. I bought a couple of cufflinks for $2. I bought a sterling pair of cufflinks for $5. And those end up coming in at like 16 grams. This guy doesn't know how to sell silver, and that was to my benefit. But I got a typewriter from him. It was a Smith, E.C. Smith secretarial. And the reason that I was so keen on it, it's got some issues with the enameling, but it's green enamel. And absolutely fantastic typewriter. I found them online for as much as $225. The base on that is probably $120. Is about the bottom of what you can see them go for. And I told him all that, and I offered him $40 for it, and then he took it. He just bought a storage unit while we were here. But on Sunday, I didn't even put out my display cases. It was so windy and so miserable out here. I think I sold $10 worth of stuff here. And that's not to say that all the people here are horrible. I did make a $100 sale on a pair of 1972 World Series tickets. And I sold the brass cowhead that I paid $37.50 for in Paris, Texas. I sold it for $100. That was a nightmare sale, though. The guy kept revisiting and trying to get it for cheaper than that. And I just kept telling him, look, it's $100. If you get that, you're going to pay me $100. But they're just very hard to instruct here, and I listened to them. Hit my neighbor. My neighbor, he had a piece of fit glassware out there, and he told them that they found it online for $20 or $25, and he offered it to them for $5, and they asked him if he'd take 3, and he did. And I wouldn't have done that. I would have told them to get out of a booth. That when they get the other $2, they can come back and buy it. But the neighbors to the other side of me, I got a Marshall batter jug that they had taken the blue lines and painted over them with yellow paint, but it was $3, and I'll probably get $45 for that. The batter jug is it's a little more difficult of a piece to find, and I bought a bag of razors from the guy. These were the Schick or Gillette razors, the old ones, where you drop in the two-sided blade, and he had a bag of those. I'd bought some razors from him a little earlier, and I went back, and he had a bag of them out, and there was a little black metal box in there that I just knew was silver, and it was a Chatelaine box. And I asked him what he needed for the bag of stuff, and he told me $20. I gave him $20, and that little box is 56.6 grams of silver. But I spent a little bit of money with him too. Another purchase I made from him had some books and ephemera and some postcards. Really not very much good stuff. It had some vintage, old, like arcade quality pornography. I can't show that here, but it was part of the deal, and it was he sold me the whole box of stuff for $20. And there's like the press releases for movies like Coal Miner's Daughter back in '83, and some stuff from Doctor Who. I don't know who I'd sell that stuff to, but I do intend on being an ephemera dealer, and that stuff will end up having an audience somewhere. But it was a really tough sale. I only did $550, $600 in sales. I bought a coin, 1877 trade dollar, and I bought it by moonlight, and it weighed right. Everything looks right about it, except that I got it cleaned up a bit. It was dark. The coin was dark. The surfaces were dark, pewter colored, and just using the oils off of my skin, I got it to get down to the silver, and silver looks good. But there's just some problems with the elements in the design that I think that this might be a contemporary counterfeit, an old counterfeit, not a modern one, but one that they use to pass in trade. And if it is, then I'll only, I might get my $250 back out of it. But if it's a genuine coin, I think that I'll have to have it certified. I think that I'll probably get $400 out of it. But the thing with trade dollars, and I knew this going into this one, The most counterfeited coin, U.S. coin that ever existed was the St. Gaudens $20 gold piece, and they're made out of gold. But there were European countries that were minting them because the gold value that was in them was less than $20, so you could get an uptick in value by taking your gold bullion and minting it into St. Gaudens $20 gold pieces. And that St. Gaudens is the most copied coin that there is. And there's even some people that were famous counterfeiters. And you can tell they'll have some diagnostics in the design. And some of those counterfeits were even, I think, made into the 70s for the very same reason that you just got more for your gold, with it being a St. Gaudens $20 gold piece than what the gold value was. But the second most counterfeited U.S. coin is the U.S. trade dollar, and there are a bunch of contemporary counterfeits. Some people even collect contemporary counterfeits. I don't know that I have one. I may have one now. I may become a collector of it now that I've potentially scored one. But I had to. A friend of mine convinced me that I should come and set up at this sale. I'd sworn this sale off a long time ago, and I didn't remember why. And it's the people. And I had a bank account, an Oklahoma City bank account, and I accidentally made a transfer into that account. I had $2,100 trapped in it, and that bank account was opened in Oklahoma City. It's an Oklahoma City bank, but recently they opened a couple of branches in Houston. And I was talking about, I didn't know whether I was going to Oklahoma City or going to Houston, and thought that I would probably go to Houston because I enjoyed shopping Houston better than I enjoyed shopping Oklahoma City. And a buddy of mine said, well, if you're going to go down there, why don't you set up at Winnie since you'll be down there? And I was like, you know what, that's a good idea. And what I learned was I shouldn't do Winnie. Yeah, it's just, and I heard that it's gotten better. I couldn't tell. In fact, I'm kind of, I don't know, but I'm doing a sale next week at Livingston. They pop up a sale a couple of times a year, and it's only about an hour from here, so I'll do that one. And then they say that Liberty, for real trade days, that they're having a sale. Their Black Friday sale is the weekend after Livingston, and they say that if you do any sales at Liberty, you have to do the Black Friday sale. They say that that's the best sale that they have all year. So I'm going to go there and find out. I got the state sale that I went to in Liberty. I bought the tobacco tin and the postcards, and the House of Representatives, the Congress passes. They had some pottery and some porcelain there, and I've been thinking really, really strongly about getting a booth somewhere or opening up a shop. And when I was at that estate sale, they had some British Amari, Crown Derby stuff that was done in the imitation of the Chinese and Japanese Amari. And man, they were great looking teacup and saucer sets. And $10 each, and then there were two of them. There was another set that was, I think, Limoges, and it was $12 for that set. It very dainty, very elegant little teacup and saucer. And then they had another one that was from Preston Guild 1902, and that was $5. And there was a creamware pitcher that was out under the carport. It was marked $15, and it had a price tag on where the people that owned it had bought it at an antique shop in Dayton, Texas for $75 years ago. You could tell that it was an old sticker. And and then I got a piece of Wedgwood. I can't, Windmere, I think, is the pattern. Now I overpaid for that. I paid $18 for the Windermere pitcher, and I think $30 in a shop is probably where that needs to be. So there's not a lot of profit on that one, but the Crown Derby Amari teacup and saucer sets, so those should probably sell in the $60 range. And I think that I would probably do the same for the Limoges one. And to tell you the truth, I think the cheapest one of them all, the $5 one, the Prescott, I think that's what it was, whatever it was, that Exposition Cup, that was the Guild Cup. That's pretty expensive, I think. It shows up on Worth Point. I don't subscribe to Worth Point, but they have sales results on Worth Point. I think that's at least going to be worth $50. Probably at a strong $50, and maybe better than that. But it's I bought well. And that was the only thing that saved me from being absolutely miserable about this sale. I really don't have a whole lot of money. I shouldn't be buying a whole lot, but the things that I did buy, I think, were good, solid values. And whenever something is, whenever there's enough value in it, I have a hard time passing it up. It's that venture capitalism thing. But this presentation is going to be put on. It's not going to be the chronological order of everything's going to be screwed up. I haven't put on a presentation for a while, and that's because I've just been busy chasing gold and silver, and daylight we don't have a lot of it. The sun is gone. It's dusk at 5:30 right now, and I've been to markets where there was just noise, and I couldn't set up studios. So I have some other videos that are like 6 weeks and maybe even 8 weeks prior to this one that will be coming up after this one. But if you've enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, and if you have, then view some of my other presentations, and if you like them as well, then please subscribe. But thank you for viewing.